The rain outside fell in slow, steady sheets, making the streets of Portland glisten under the late afternoon sun. Inside Iron Pulse MMA gym, though, the energy was electric. Heavy bags swung with each punch, the thuds echoing off the concrete walls. Coaches shouted combinations. Fighters grunted. Music blasted from the corner speaker. This was where egos were made and sometimes broken. In the far corner, Jordan, the Steel, Blake finished his high-intensity round with a dramatic spinning kick that left his sparring partner breathless and wide-eyed. The room applauded. Jordan, early 30s, lean, chiseled, charming, was the gym's unofficial king. A Brazilian jiu-jitsu black belt with regional titles, local endorsements, and over 500,000 Instagram followers, he loved the spotlight and played to it often. He was good, too good to be humble. That day, Iron Pulse was hosting a community workshop titled, Strong Women, Self-Defense for Every Body. It was designed for beginners, especially women who had never stepped foot on a mat. Jordan had volunteered, though some suspected it was more for the cameras than for the cause. As the crowd gathered, one woman stood out, not because she was flashy, but because she wasn't. She arrived alone, quietly signed the waiver form, and took a seat in the back row of folding chairs. She looked ordinary. Probably in her early 40s. Wore gray sweatpants and a loose hoodie. No flashy gear, no brand logos, no fighter's swagger. Her hair was frizzy and carelessly tied back, and her sneakers looked like they'd seen better days. Her name tag read, Mira. Jordan, wiping sweat off his brow, nudged his training buddy. Bet she's never thrown a punch in her life. Then, in front of everyone, he called out jokingly, "Hey Mira, wanna spar with a black belt?" There were light chuckles. A few phones tilted up to record. Mira looked up slowly. She didn't laugh or smile. She just stood, walked calmly toward the mat, and removed her hoodie, revealing a lean but toned frame. Her posture was quiet, but balanced, composed. "You sure?" Jordan asked, smirking as he stretched his neck. "You asked," she replied softly, her voice unshaken. They bowed. Jordan lunged forward, half playful, trying to sweep her feet. She sidestepped smoothly and countered with a hip toss that sent him to the mat in under 2 seconds. The crowd went dead silent. Jordan blinked in shock. No one ever threw him like that. He jumped back up, this time serious. A second attempt, he went for an arm drag. But Mira slipped out, spun behind him, and brought him down in a controlled chokehold before releasing immediately. The room gasped. Third attempt, Jordan charged, now angry. Mira shifted her weight, locked his leg, and flipped him flat on his back. She knelt on his chest and waited until he tapped. He did. People stood up. The camera phones trembled. The gym had gone still. Coach Ramirez stepped forward slowly, brows raised. "Ma'am, forgive me, but, have you trained before?" Mira gave a small smile. "I trained for about 16 years. Kyoto, Brazil, London." "Under who?" "Takeda-sensei in Kyoto. Later, Master Rodrigo in Rio." Ramirez nearly dropped his clipboard. Someone whispered, "Wait, is she Mira Dawson?" "The Mira Dawson?" Another woman gasped. "The 3-time world submission champion who disappeared 10 years ago." Jordan was still on the mat, staring up at the ceiling, breathless and humiliated, not by force, but by grace. Mira hadn't used aggression. She had used control. Poise. Timing. The kind of mastery only seen in true martial artists. After helping him to his feet, Mira quietly collected her things. But the crowd didn't let her go so easily. One by one, the women gathered around her. "How did you stay so calm? Can you show me that leg sweep again? I want to be strong like you." Myra's voice was never loud, but it was full of warmth. "Strength isn't in the punch. It's in the pause. The breath you take before reacting. Later, in the quiet office behind the gym, Jordan approached her. His ego bruised, but his tone respectful. I'm sorry, he said. I thought I was being funny. I was showing off. Mira sipped her tea and looked at him kindly. You were. But you weren't cruel. You just forgot to look deeper. He exhaled. I used to think skill meant being the best in the room. But you walked in and reminded me what martial arts really is. You're not the first man to underestimate a woman, Mira said with a soft chuckle. You won't be the last. What matters is what you do after. They sat in silence for a few moments. The storm outside had stopped. Jordan finally asked, why did you leave the scene? You were a legend. Mira stared into her cup. My husband died in a crash. Our son was 2. I had to choose, fighting or mothering. So, I chose him. There was a long pause. And now? He's older now. 17. Taller than me. He's the one who told me to come today. Said I'd forgotten who I was. Jordan smiled. Well, I'm glad he reminded you. Because you reminded me. A week later, Mira was offered a position as the head instructor for women's self-defense at Iron Pulse. She accepted, on the condition that it remained free for those who couldn't afford it. Every Saturday, women filled the gym. Survivors, nurses, single moms, quiet teenagers with anxiety. Mira taught them not just technique, but dignity. She taught them to walk without shrinking. To breathe before panicking. To stand up when life knocks them down. Jordan became one of her most loyal assistants. No longer the center of attention, but the man laying out mats, adjusting mirrors, offering encouragement quietly. He had learned more in those few minutes with Mira than in years of competitive fighting. And as Mira's story spread, through videos, interviews, podcasts, the world didn't just celebrate her comeback. It celebrated the message she carried. That strength isn't loud. That power isn't always visible. And that sometimes, the quietest woman in the room holds the wisdom that can humble even the loudest champion. On one especially crowded afternoon, a little girl raised her hand during class and asked, Miss Mira, are you afraid of anything? Mira knelt to her level, smiled gently, and replied, yes. I'm afraid of forgetting that I matter. And the room went still once again. Because everyone in that gym knew, they mattered too. And that is the true fight Mira Dawson had returned to teach, the fight to believe in yourself, even when the world forgets who you are. Never judge someone by how they look or where they come from, because true strength, wisdom, and courage often live quietly in the most unexpected places. And sometimes, the person the world overlooks is the one who carries the power to change it. This story reminds us that humility is greater than ego, kindness is stronger than force, and believing in yourself is the greatest victory of all.